I even have this water, and like it fell, and it's one of those that like it's a, what do you call it, like a sparkling water? Is that what you call
Oh
it?
no.
And so, anyways, it fell the other day, and I've been waiting for like a whole week to open it, and it had this kind of like limp, like I thought it was gonna like explode, and it didn't, which was great, but it's all like broken, so I have to conform my lips to it to drink it, and it's oh, sorry that the camera has that. I haven't even drank it yet. I was like,
I hope that we have a new person in the audience who's like waiting for all this lore and stuff, and this is how we start our videos. Not hi, not good morning. I have this weird can of sparkling water. That's how we start our lives
yeah, that's an
now.
instant loss of credibility. It's just from me trying to
Or
drink.
gain of respect.
That's
I
right.
would say, yeah.
That is absolutely right. Well, hello everyone. Good to see you. This morning, early today. Uh, it is going to be a fun one today. Ella's got us doing unique Taurus placements, so we're going to be
Hmm.
talking about that. I see all our friends in here: Katie, Carl, Ray, DJ. Who am I missing in here? Am I missing one? Gabriel. It's good to see you guys. We
Yeah,
are
good.
just
Thank you for
like
joining us this morning,
it
this
was a
early
long
hour.
day. It was a long
Mhm.
day yesterday. I actually, after the first event, I mean, after the last event, I did my thing, and I was like, oh, let me set you up, and like here's Mal, and here's
Mhm.
whatever. And after Mal, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go rest now, which I didn't. I went to go work. So-
Liar.
I know
Liar.
it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Um, there's a funny line. I don't know if you ever saw the Josie and the Pussycats movie from 2000. It's a great movie. It's a great movie. It's from like
Forever ago. Long, long time
it's such
ago.
a great movie because it's so campy. And then
Mhm.
the evil agent, what's his name? Malcolm, whatever. He's
Mhm.
like, I've got a label to run here, Josephine. And so every time I like want to go rest, but I know we have work, or someone tells me you need to rest, that's what I want to respond to them. I've got a
You're
label to
so
run here. Anyway, well, it's good to see everyone. So we're gonna be doing. Ella, is there anything you wanna share that what's coming today? And
Yeah. So if you don't know, we're Flux Fantasy and Flux Destiny, and we are creating a manga and a TTRPG, and we are doing right now. We're in the very middle of like almost exactly halfway through our week long event of Flux Fantasy Fest, where we're launching version one of our core rulebook and games of Flux Fantasy, and it's down in the Discord and it's on here on YouTube. So if you haven't joined our Discord, we've got a link in the description of this video, and you can jump right in and join and have all kinds of fun stuff with us. Our core rulebook is out. We've got some games out. We've got pre-sales going. We've got commissions. We've got all kinds of fun stuff that you can jump in. We've got game nights that we'll talk about a little bit later. And so today, as part of Flux Fantasy Fest, we want to do a little bit of like everybody creates a character when they come into Flux Fantasy. They either transport their OCs or make new characters, and we have a bunch of different types of characters. And so one of our most popular groups of characters are the escape artists, right? And the escape artists in our world are these people who use their powers in these amazing ways, and they have these large Toruses that they use to manipulate their karmistry, right? And if they do it too much, then they end up, causing some payback or some backlash on themselves. But today, what we wanted to do is we have so many questions about the Torus, right? The Torus is a signature part of Flux Destiny. It's a signature part of Flux Fantasy. And a lot of people are like, well, what kind of Taurus should I make for my character? And what size should it be? And where do I put it? Right. And so we just kind of wanted to give a brief example of some places if you're designing an escape artist, or even somebody who wears a Taurus, I guess it could be a special agent or, an ink fighter if they have like victory Tauruses from all the escape artists that they, defeated in battle or something. We wanted to give you guys some good ideas about where you can put your Tauruses if you're making an escape artist or if you're looking for a specific style or something like that. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do today. And so we're going to have a lot of fun. We've got lots of other events today, but this is our first one of, I think it's day 4. Tomorrow is day 5 of our event. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's gonna be. It's been. Yesterday was pretty intense. We had so much stuff going on, and we had so many events that. And I remember at the end when we were like, "Oh, there's still 11 more events to go,"
Hmm.
and I was like, "Oh my god, oh my god," So
Hmm.
we still got a lot. It's a full thing. So, oh, do you want to just tell them real quick before we go forward what's happening today, and then,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so today, let me look at the different events we've got here. So we're doing unique tourist placement today on YouTube, and then we've got a lunch hangout where you can just come and hang out and talk and meet with the community and stuff. And that's going to be at 1 o'clock, and that's in our Discord. And then we've got designing Gears of Destiny and characters with Boofy. Which, by the way, if you saw yesterday's event with J2's and he had all these amazing drawings. Boofy is also an artist, and he drew a lot of different gears and examples for today's talk, and that's also going to be in the Discord. It's going to be kind of talking about on the character sheet, you've got a Gear of Destiny, so he's going to be going over that and what it means for a character in Flux Fantasy. And then we've got a kind of a dinner hangout tonight at 6 Central, and that's going to be in the Discord. And hopefully RC can make it to that one, and we'll hang out and talk and, go over Flux Fantasy stuff. And then tonight, we've got 2 events, 2 kind of late night events. One, 8 Central, and that's the Payback mini game with one of our GMs, Thomas. He's going to be taking participants through combat. And then we've got Meet Their Creator. Our final event of the night is going to be back here on YouTube. It's going to be with RC, and he's going to be talking about himself, and the fun things, the fun
me.
journey. Yeah, the fun journey that you've gone through, and storytelling, and how you came to make Flux Destiny, and from A to Z, basically. So it's gonna be super fun.
And I just saw Jacoby show up in the chat, who we have to give a special shout out again to Jacoby because of his amazing presentation yesterday. Like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it was just incredible. Hey Carl, I don't know if I said hi. I saw you too. Okay, so with that being said, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just show you what Tauruses usually look like. And
Mhm.
the Taurus, the way it works in the Flux Destiny universe is that it's a necessary. You can't really perform karmistry without it. You
Mhm.
could you could do the most minimal karmistry without a Taurus, and what I mean is like, okay, you wanted to light your finger so that you could like light the way or something. You probably could do that, but it would be very faint because you need to be able to channel a lot of karma to do karmistry.
Mhm.
So a Taurus is what's used to siphon karma into it, and then you use that to perform karmistry. And
Mhm.
the reason that a Taurus is circular is that, obviously this is a very karma themed universe. Um, Karma is secular, cyclical, right? And what goes around comes around is like the basis of this universe. So karma is constantly turning, and so it can only be stored in you know circular objects. They have to be gold.
Mhm.
That's the only kind of metal that can hold karma. And in this universe, karma is also it's its own energy form, right? So there is
Yep.
like all this other forces and energies, but karma is its own specific type. So it's different than electricity. Like electricity exists in its own form, uh, but karma is its own thing. So, all right. So let me show you real quick. And I apologize for the camera if it's like jumps in and out. Sometimes we're still trying to figure out why it's doing this. Um, I know Ella is already gonna give me a speech on it. I know there's some sort of like auto thing on this, and I don't know how to fix it. So just
We will fix it for the next Flux
we'll fix it
Fantasy
for the next
event.
one. Okay. I'm already
Yeah.
like cutting her off because she's gonna start lecturing me. Okay. So All right, so let's go to this. So if you look at the screen here, this is from our core rule book. Um, this little dude here is a clockwork escape artist, and they wear large Tauruses on their chest. So if you've seen Hugo, obviously Hugo has a giant, chunky Taurus on his chest that he wears. Sometimes you'll see them wearing. They actually have like these space helmet things that they like to wear a lot because sometimes they have to actually like reach into the great machine to like fix things or deal with things, and so they obviously that's very dangerous, and so they wear these helmets. So you can see the different types of this is a basis of it. If you've seen, hold on, let me zoom here. On the front here, Hugo, his you can see his Taurus. Um, that hangs from the front. Now, this is actually, they're actually thicker than this. They're actually pretty chunky. Um, and for clockwork escape artists, because they're made of gold and they're pretty heavy.
Mhm.
So we were talking about this yesterday that usually escape artists who are clockwork usually end up having like really strong back muscles and shoulders from having to carry that around. Or
Mhm.
if they don't take care of themselves, they're hunched over, you know?
Yeah.
So, um,
Well, it's important to note too that this you're talking about the size of the Taurus, right? And we were talking before, Tauruses are necessary to perform all karmistry. So that's not just escape artist. It has to be in the tech that's used to create this an ink fighter sigil. It has to be in the tech that is used for special agents. And it has to be in a clock bot for them to function at all. Right. So it's not just some fun, like, oh, it's just for escape artists. It's for everybody, right? Everybody has to use it to perform their karmistry abilities. They need it in one way or another. It's a little bit different, for people who are not escape artists or clockbots, but that's the you have to have one, right? So it's not just for fun or looks or, oh, this is a cool style. It's they actually need one to perform.
let me show you one more here real quick before we go into the drawings. This is from the Predestined game. You can see Marco and Hugo's some more of their Tauruses from these. Hold on, I gotta zoom this thing out. Okay, you can see their again more of their Taurus on the sheets. Actually, the character sheets actually allow you to decide where you place them. Hugo usually wears them with these leather straps. Not leather. Well, it depends on what era he's in, but leather straps. They can be like that material that like it's kind of like backpacks use to
Hmm.
for straps with
Canvas, yeah.
Velcro, canvas, whatever things like that. Um, there's also when we look at Marco. Oh, here's a so on the character sheet. There's a place specifically to show where the canvas, where the Tauruses go. Here you can actually see in the detail of this. You can actually see the little like threading, stitching on the um, on the straps that hold his Taurus in. But
Hmm.
the the character sheets have a space where you specifically like put you draw what your Taurus looks like. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Like you don't have to be like an amazing artist to do that. You can draw um you can draw um uh, simply just so
Hmm.
you can have, or you can write it if you really are afraid of drawing, then you can write it. And then
That would
Marco,
be me.
oh,
That would be
whatever.
me.
Give yourself more
I would
credit.
not.
You're actually really good. And Marco, for example, like creative escape artists, um, are have usually wear them in pairs because one Taurus has a positive charge and one has a negative charge, because they use the positive charge to create things and they use the negative charge to erase or destroy things or to
Hmm.
attack. Right. So if they're going to attack, and it doesn't mean that you can't load both. Like if Marco wanted to go like full on like battle combat mode, he could charge both his Tauruses completely with negative karma and be like a real force to be reckoned with if he did that too. So
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that brings up a good point. So Hugo and Marco's Tauruses are different. So let's talk about, while you're getting your drawing stuff set up, um, let's talk about the different ways that each group can wear a Taurus, right? Traditionally, right? Because they're obviously, if you're playing Flux Fantasy, you could do whatever you want, right? You can wear your Taurus in any unconventional way um, that you want. So there are 5 studies inside the escape artist like umbrella, right? And we've got the creative escape artist, which you've already talked about, which normally has like 2 Tauruses, one, um, one positive, like you said, and one negative, just like Marco has. They normally wear them on their ears, right? You would say RC is they would wear them traditionally as earrings. Um, and then you've got the clockwork people who wear the bigger Tauruses, and the size is really important because we'll talk about the size in a minute, but the size basically is how much karma you can hold, right? And then you've got people like the quantum people, they wear the gauges that are like actually in their ears. They're not as earrings, but they're like the circles that you stretch your ears for, right? And they're normally a different color because they like to be, like they like to stand out that they're quantum users. And then we've got machine people who like to wear, normally we like to say that they wear like rings, because they're doing all that intricate like little work on computers and tech and stuff like that. And so they need like very precise chemistry. And then we have the bio users who are probably our biggest class of escape artists. And so they normally wear their Tauruses on their arms or neck, and they normally wear medium-sized ones, maybe not as big as the clockwork users. I think the clockwork are always going to be like the biggest Tauruses that you see on a person. And so, yeah, those are kind of the different styles. But at the end of the day, you could wear your Taurus how you wanted, right? And so that's kind of what we're going to demonstrate here is that there's more than just one way to style your Taurus, right?
so yeah, that's absolutely right. That's all absolutely right. And before we get started, I'm going to show you a couple of examples from previous art I've done so you can
Mm.
see some of this stuff. Uh, Kwa was asking in the chat, well, what about quantum escape artists? So quantum escape artists also they can wear them in any style, but the
Mm-hmm.
style you'll typically see them wearing it is with these gauges.
Mm-hmm.
Let me pull these up. If you've seen like, hold on, it's pulling up. Uh, Sorry, it's loading. There we go. If you've seen like sorry, my dog, if you can hear him coughing, can you hear that? He always does this on a stream. Um,
Give dog emojis in the chat for Bentley.
um, quantum escape artists like Silas here, he wears these gauge earrings, so they're usually like tunnel, double flared. Like they can be all sorts of, but they usually wear like instead of earrings like escape artists, they wear usually gauges in their ears.
Mm-hmm.
But they can wear them in any way you want to wear them. But usually like gauges is how they do it. So I
It
hope that.
depends on what they're researching, like quantum is very flexible because they're bending the rules sort of what we know about chemistry. So somebody might need they might need more capacity than somebody else. Like if somebody's doing nuclear chemistry, they're probably going to want something a little bit bigger because size of the Taurus like depends on how much karma you can hold, right? So sometimes you're going to need more than just the two, right?
That's right. Um, okay, so there's this one. Then some other ones that we have here. Let me pull some of this other art. Um, and then we'll draw a couple. Let's see. I had these available here. Oh, since Carl is here, Carl's OC Enma has wears his on a what do you call it? On a necklace. So he's got dual Tauruses, and this has to do with his the backstory of this character. He wears them. These are, I believe, they were his parents' Tauruses. So he has them kind of linked together and wears them uh, in the on his necklace. So that's a cool way to do it too. So you can do all sorts of. I'm trying to think of the most creative thing I've ever heard of what someone has done with a Taurus.
Well, they've put them. You could put them in weapons, like Joey, J-Tune's character
Right.
does. He has his on the end of a paintbrush. You could braid them in your hair. We have a character named
Uh-huh.
Ivar, who is in the foreign exchange student club, and he braids his in his hair. Which I really like that one a lot. That's one of my personal favorites. We have Elio wears them as glasses. He wears his parents' Toruses as glasses. And so there's more than just, wearing it as a bracelet, right? But I mean, obviously you can do that. It's fashionable. Whirlwind wears it, which Whirlwind is the character in Lunar Showdown. She wears two large ones, like on her hips. You know what I mean? They're very large. Um, there's basically anything that you can think of, really.
Yeah. Let me show a few more. Here is Zach, who is a Clockwork Karmistry user. He's playing Karma Kendo, so he's got his Tauruses strapped to these straps here on his outfit.
Hmm.
And then we've got Elio. Where's Elio? One second, let me find him. Uh, This okay, so this art I posted yesterday. Sorry, I'm gonna get to the drawing in a second, but I just want to show you guys this stuff. This drawing I posted yesterday is probably the best example of what a Taurus really like. Its terms of its weight, a clockwork Taurus would be this chunky. It's pretty hefty. It's not something it's not something thin and whatever. It's pretty thick,
Hmm.
and so it'd be pretty heavy. And so that's how Clockworks wear them. Um, Let me see. I'm trying to find a couple more here, and then we'll get to the drawing.
Oh, and headphones. You can. We've got that creative Karmistry. He's my favorite example of a creative escape
Oh,
artist.
right. Yeah,
He
he's
wears them in his headphones. Um, yeah, there's
here.
you could put them in equipment. You could stitch them to your clothes as like badges, Bright, one of Jimmy's character Bright has like a leather jacket and he wears it on the back as like a patch, as like his biker symbol.
This one, this is Joey J Tunes' character, and he has his at the end of a brush. So here you can kind of see it. It's kind of hidden with all the ink, but you can see it here. And then a couple more here, and then I'm trying to find. Oh, Carl has a couple other characters that are really awesome. I did some design work for. This is Luke and Alex, right? Luke and Alex, if I'm remembering their names right.
Lucas, I think.
Lucas and Alex. So Alex has the gauges, right? So you can
Hmm.
see. Oh, right. Carl mentioned um, what do you call it? Great point he brought up. Jacoby's character J Tunes also has a Taurus hidden under his headband, which is pretty cool. I didn't know that till yesterday. You can see here the Taurus is the gauge Taurus here,
Hmm.
and Lucas has his as a bracelet. So sorry, forget you guys super zoomed in. So these are all commissions I'd done to for these particular characters. Let me show you a couple more. I should have just pulled up. I've got this like giant page of OCs. I should have just pulled that one up. Oh, I
Oh
should have
yeah.
just done that. Hold on, let me do that. I posted this the other day. This one, this is this giant page of OCs. You guys can see the different
I
types.
think Katie's character Charlotte wears hers as rings on her fingers.
Yep, she's got hers as
Um,
ring.
yeah, and because she does kind of like, and she's quantum, but she does them differently because her stuff is all, she's a magic based, um, and like teleports and stuff. So she has to do kind of intricate magic. So that's a little bit different, right? And that shows you that it's not just clear cut. Like just because you're a quantum user means that you have to have the gauges. You do it based on what kind of your particular skills and needs are.
That's right. Here's Elio. He has his as his glasses, in the rims of his glasses,
Hmm.
which is pretty cool too. So that's your little tour there of bunch of cool OCs that use their Tauruses. Oh, Max has his in his gloves
Hmm.
here, so
Which,
you
by the
can.
way, this
Mhm.
is a good segue because tomorrow morning, we are having a Patreon exclusive uh event where we are going to be talking about, everybody's going to be introducing their OCs. If you want to be there, you've got to be on our Patreon by tomorrow morning, or else you're going to miss it. So we're going to be going over all of these characters, and you get a chance to talk about your OC and where you've put your Taurus and all that kind of stuff. So it's so cool to see all of them together, and with Hugo, of course.
All right, so let's get to doing some unique placements. So let me close all these out here and get back to the little template we got set up. So we've got some characters here. Let me zoom out so you can see better. There we go. Okay, I dimmed it a little bit. I put like a layer over this so that it wouldn't be like, if you're watching the screen, it's not like blinding you. Same for me. It's just like
Too early, yeah.
it's too early. Well, it's funny because for many years, I used to, when I was first streaming, I never had a problem with like the full brightness. I always had everything at full brightness, and
Hmm.
now I can't. I can't do it. It's just like it's too much for me. I guess I'm just getting old and ruined. And
I don't like it either, and
yeah,
I'm young-ish.
so okay. So how do you want to do it, Ella? So
So I think that we should just look at each of these characters and maybe just think of some fun ways, that we can put them in, and we could demonstrate some traditional ways too, but let's think of something a little bit more unique. We could think about, maybe with this first girl, we could think about, uh let's pretend that she is a clockwork user, right? So she's got a pretty big Taurus. So what are some ways that we could, with this outfit that she's wearing, that we could sort of attach a Taurus to her? What would be some ways that you think that we could do something like that?
I bet Katie has some good ideas too. I bet she's got some unique ones too. So I want to hear some unique ones. Let's see what we can do.
I think that my first instinct with a big Taurus is to put it actually not on the chest, but to put it on like the legs. I don't know why I always do that when I write clockwork characters. I'm always trying to get the Taurus off of their chest. I don't know why. I'm always like, put it on their hips, like put it on their back. I don't know why. Like I like to move it to unconventional locations, I guess.
So we got a couple of suggestions here. We've got integrated into a police badge, which is interesting. I hadn't thought of that. Um, Quaz suggests a Taurus as a belt, cinching to her waist, which would be super cool too, or a
Yeah, you could
backpack.
do that.
Yeah, I like doing. I like trying to. Actually, it's interesting about the back thing. I know that the uh, Jimmy's character has it strapped to his back.
Mhm.
Um, in one of my earlier, when I was working on designs for Hugo, uh, there wasn't a version of it that had it on the back on his back, but I wanted it. It's such an important thing that I wanted people to see it, and it's not often you're going to see the back. So,
Mhm.
um, okay, so we've got a belt. Let's try a Jesus halo. Oh, actually,
Oh,
that
yeah.
happens too. That happens too. We could try that. Let's give it to her. Let's give it to her as a
As a halo?
if whichever you tell me what you want to see.
Let's do it as a halo. I think that's a good look for her. Let's
Okay.
if she's got it as a halo, she's probably a bio user, right? Somebody who's like doing medical stuff, wants it off of her body because she's like moving around a lot. But isn't like running around like a clockwork user is. Um
With a Halo version, there's different ways that the you have to get creative on, well, how do you keep it over her head? Well, one thing is that
mhm,
she could have it like, if she has like a bun back here, like it could be attached somehow to something here that kind of keeps it, you know, floating over her head, which would be kind of cool.
mhm, mhm,
Um, or you could do. I mean, this would look a little goofier, I think, but you could do something like this. I don't particularly like that. I'd rather have it design wise. I'd rather have it like the mechanism that holds it over her head, kind of like you'd have if it wasn't on her head, it would look something like this. It would be like, okay, you've got the halo, and then you've got this like circular thing where it this like spherical thing that it goes here, and then there's like a clip here that attaches to her hair, right? Something like this, right? So that it elevates it over her head. I think that would be probably the most practical way to do it, so that it still looks cool. Because otherwise, it'll look like, when you have to get like braces and you have to wear those like things on your face. Like I don't think it's
mhm.
like a cool look. So um, I think this would look pretty cool like this, something like this. What do you guys think of that? That
I
looks
like
cool.
it.
And you could give now. There's no reason you can't have more Tauruses. You can have more, but the in-world reason why people are not like adorned with Tauruses is because they're made of gold and they're expensive, right? So whenever
Yep.
you give I've had some people who are like, oh, I want my OC to have like 10 Tauruses, and I'm like, okay, you realize, like, I was like, you have to justify that in your backstory, right?
Mhm.
I was like, are they wealthy? Did they get those passed down?
Mm,
You want to make it make sense, because it like, to me, the minute you one of the many of you may have heard the term of suspension of disbelief. I take that very seriously, because you can't really immerse and escape this world that we're in and immerse yourself in a fictional world if you can't suspend your disbelief. So little things like that, where it's like, wait, Tauruses are made of gold. Why does this like teenager have like 20 of them? Like, those things take you out of the illusion,
yep.
right? And so you have to think. That's why I'm such a stickler about that stuff. So it's not that I'm
Yeah.
against it. I'm like, hey, if you want to give your guy like 20 Tauruses, all right, but can you come up with a legit reason why they have such expensive, you know, material?
Yeah.
So
Well, and in Flux Fantasy too, you can only get 5, right? That's like the
yeah,
limit, but you can only start with 1 or 2. Because it's impractical, because in Flux Fantasy, your Taurus is how much karma you can hold, right? And so the more Tauruses you have, the stronger you're going to be overall. So there's also like a legitimate reason why somebody like the NKA, who in our world is like protecting, people from karmistry, like misuse, is not going to let some random student have 100 Tauruses, right? They're just it's not going to happen. They're going to be like, no, you you can wear 2, but you can't be walking around with 100 Tauruses.
this would be kind of a cool configuration too, like to have like the halo with these big hoop earrings. That would be kind of cool too.
That looks awesome.
That's a really cool combination. You know what? I'm surprised I don't hear a lot of nose rings. I don't hear people bring up nose
There's
rings.
not enough nose rings. There's not
Yeah,
enough piercings. Yeah,
you would think that. I don't think it'll look good
well,
on her, but with well, maybe, I don't know.
when we were making, there's a character named Gooba, who's a Honto, who's like basically like a seahorse type, creature in our world. When we were making Gooba, everybody was like, "Oh, give him, a big Taurus, like a big Taurus." And he's got such a large nose. I was like, Put it as like a nose, like a bull horn nose ring, and everybody was like, no, no, like put it regular. And I was like, you guys, like, and RC took my side, and he ended up with the nose ring. But I was like, he looks so cool. Not enough nose rings.
Yeah, because
That's my thing.
Gooba has like a snout, right? That looks like
Yeah.
almost like a bull's face. So it looked really good on him to have that. Actually, in early versions, I used to have when I was first developing everything, I had Clockbots wore them as nose rings. That was the
Hmm.
original idea, was that they wore them that way. Um, so okay, so we got her here, and what's cool about this is that you've got like a magical three, right? So you got three
Yeah.
Tauruses here. This is really nice and balanced. This looks good, and works really well for her. I wouldn't add any more because then it's really overkill. It gets to
Yeah.
the point where
Agreed.
it's like it's just too much, right? It's like it looks silly, It looks silly. It's like I've got like a gazillion. You don't need you really you really don't need that many Tauruses to. And we talk a lot about the size of the Tauruses being kind of important, right, in terms of how much karma they can hold. That's kind of like very technical, but in the story, it's kind of like I leave a lot of like flexibility on that. It's not like, oh, you can't, I try to leave that a little kind of like flexible, because if you're like, well, my escape artist needs to use a lot of karma, I don't want to give her earrings that are like this big, right? Like that would be
Right.
ridiculous. So there's a little bit of, um anyway.
No, yeah,
Uh
you're right.
Vent is asking, if someone has more rings, is he more powerful or does it affect anything? So, oh, you've already answered. Sorry, I didn't see that. It was delayed. So yeah, the more rings you've got, the more technically the more karma you can hold. For a clockwork escape artist, so we'll try something maybe different with this guy, but if he was a clockwork escape artist and had one like Hugo, like a big Taurus on his chest, the reason why these guys, clockwork guys, have these giant ones is because they deal with like fundamental forces in the universe, like physics, that have to do with physics. So like gravity, light, energy, matter, things like that. That takes a lot of karma to manipulate because those
Hmm.
are like fundamental forces. So they need to be able to carry way more than usual. So they usually wear these pretty big ones. What we should have done is that we should have like labeled each one of these as like a different escape artist and say, okay, quantum escape, whatever, and then we could have done different types. But it's okay; it's too late now. Um,
Well, I was thinking for this guy, Katie asked a good question earlier. She said, "Can you decorate your Taurus?" And there are some good examples in the core rulebook of like one that has gears on the inside, and there's a couple that are like multiple Tauruses. And the answer is yes, as long as the Taurus is still like really intact. Do you know what examples I'm talking about, RC? You
yeah,
remember like
I was trying to see if I could pull them up. I know it because I know exactly where I had put them in the book. They, as long as the circle is maintained, you can
mhm,
do that. You can etch things into the surface, right?
mhm.
So they can be etched. And actually, there's a great example in the core rulebook, and I'm trying to find it, of a of these. I think they were earrings or something. They were etched. Where is that? Let me see if I can find it. Uh, I remember putting it in as we were finishing up the book, and I'm trying to remember where I can see it. I can see it somewhere in here. Oh my gosh, where is it? I know it. I like I can literally feel it. I can feel it because I swear it's one of the last things I put in before we finished the book. Oh well, I don't know why it's not showing up. Of course, it's one of those things that will show up when we end the stream, and I'll go, oh, I remember where I put those. So it can be etched. So well, why don't I just draw it? So if you do like if let's say we're doing let's say we go back to this guy's Taurus that I just deleted right here. He could have etchings in it, right? Like it could be etched like grooves of all different types. So let's say he just had this kind of like spiral groove that went around the um the surface of it. Or it could have It could have, all sorts of different etchings. It could have words etched on it. It could have designs etched on it. There's all sorts of stuff that you can do. That's why I wanted to find this drawing, because it was actually rendered really nicely with like etchings and stuff, and I can't find it right now. So what did you want to do with this guy?
Um, hold on, I found it for you. Sending you this. Um, let me get back to the stream. Okay, so with this guy, I think that we should do maybe he's maybe we could do like some kind of multi Taurus on the chest, whether it's like a linked one or something. He's got these straps coming down already, which would signify, maybe like a bigger Taurus, of some kind. Obviously the classic design is like the easiest to do. Um,
Oh, this is what I was looking for. You found it.
yeah, that's what I said. That's what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah. I'm
drawing.
like, you found it. This is great. Okay, hold on. Let me show you guys. This is what we were. Uh, there was a great question in the chat about, does having more Tauruses invite more payback? And the answer is no. And the reason is that it's not the Taurus itself; it's the karmistry you perform, right? That
Yep.
creates it. I mean, I guess technically you could come with some like, explanation that, well, with more Tauruses you can hold way more karma and you could perform way more advanced karmistry. Therefore, you'd have more payback. So, I mean, if you want to like follow that logic, you could, but just from their existence, no. Let me paste this. Okay, so this is. Oh, I'm sorry. I know it's bright. I'm sorry. Let me put it under the layer here. There. So here's just some ideas of how the Tauruses could work. We've got here, this first one has this cool, like, it's almost like like a plate, like not a plate. It's like a it's a Taurus, but has these gears in the middle. It's like the inside has gears that move around another gear, right? So that,
Mhm.
and they kind of go around the surface. The only real requirements are that it's gold and it's circular. That's it. If you bend a Taurus, a Taurus can actually implode. You have to be
Yep.
very careful. Like Tauruses, if a Taurus gets damaged, it could cause your karmistry to backfire. It has to stay in circular form. That's like
Mhm.
really important. A Taurus implosion is a pretty big deal. So
Yep.
you don't want that to happen. So if you're in battle and your like Taurus gets dented, you escape artists get trained on how to deal with that. And usually it means that they have to like toss their Taurus right at the
Yeah,
top.
like literally throw it,
Like throw
like
it,
legitimately.
and they have to be careful because the amount of karma they have in it could create a huge, you know, explosion. So they have to be careful about that. So they're trained in manners of dealing with Taurus implosions. Um, the second one here is just a simple one, which is really cool. This
They can
is
be simple. They
It
can
can
be
be very
simple.
simple. This is a cool one. It's actually, it looks, it's, you can kind of see this is a lot more like a Hugo one. This one, which is like a gyroscope, which is super cool. A bunch of like,
And they don't all have to be Tauruses. Maybe the main one is a Taurus, and then those other connecting
absolutely,
pieces are like other metals, you know?
absolutely. That's a really good point to make. Is that this one's a necklace, as you can see from this, is that
Mhm.
this one, the outer one could be the Taurus, and these are just like she said, just decorative. These could be gems and stuff in here. Here, when you look at this on this side, you can see. Oh, hold on, sorry, wrong. Oh my gosh, sorry. These here, these here, you can see these Tauruses that are engraved, right? Like these
Mhm.
have really cool like engravings on them. This one has some little protrusions here, which are really cool to check out, that are hanging off this little this whatever bracket that's on someone's ear. So
Mhm.
there's all sorts of cool ways you can. I I wish I had the time. There's so much that we do. Like doing everything we do for Flux Destiny and Flux Fantasy, there's these things called um, Torus foundries. So
Mhm.
Torus foundries um, are the places where Toruses are made, and they're made by Torus smiths, and they're the ones who like are experts in forging Toruses, and it's like an art form, right? Like, well,
Mhm.
it's an art form for some, and others it's like mass produced,
Yeah.
right? Because there's
A
Toruses in
clockbot factory.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like there's Toruses in computers and in technology, and you're not going to have like people sitting there handcrafting those, but like the great escape artists, they're going to go to like these like Taurus foundries, usually like boutiques, and like have these like custom made, like beautifully, crafted Tauruses. So it's very funny. I a a little bit of like Flux Destiny history. I remember I have to give a shout out to Katie on this because she's actually the one who helped me choose the term Taurus. There was a couple of terms that I was debating on, and I can distinctly remember I was like, "Okay, Katie, what do you think?" And I was like, I gave her a couple, and um, not only was it choosing the word Taurus, she helped me do. Katie's been with me forever. Like she's like my little like you know guardian angel. She's been here with me forever. Uh, so we chose Taurus, but then the next problem after choosing the word Taurus was how do you say it in the plural, right? How do you say Tor? Is it because I there's two ways you can say Tori, right?
Mhm.
Tori, but I was like, I don't know, that's a lot. That's kind of weird to say, and and Tauruses with an es is actually also acceptable. So we went
Yeah.
that way because it's
Yeah.
just easier, if you're like Taurus, Tori, it's anyway. I didn't want
I'll
to have
give
big mental leaps for people.
I'll give
So
another fun fact. Another fun fact is that when I am writing the word Taurus, I write really fast. And RC knows this because I often send him stuff with numerous misspellings. I'm like a misunderstood genius, right? Like the scribblings of a madman. That's how my writing is. And then I present it to RC and he does a lot of the cleanup for me because he's awesome like that. And I will often misspell Tauruses the first time through a writing and it will autocorrect to trousers. So then I have to go back through and look up trousers and, and put in Tauruses instead. So that's a little fun fact. If you ever, see a Taurus in your writing commission, it probably was once a trouser.
that's so funny. It's so true though. It's very, she also has an aversion to apostrophes. Like we have fights about
I do.
apostrophes all the time. She refuses. She would refuse to use apostrophes, and
I'm just quirky like that. I'm just really
very very
quirky.
quirky. That's such a like a that's such like a like you belong as like as a protagonist in one of those um like one of those YA novels from the mid 2000 where
I'm
it's
a
like
I'm a manic pixie dream girl is what I
yes, that's
am.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. And that's your weird quirky thing. It's like I don't do apostrophes. I don't do
I don't
those.
do apostrophes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what yeah, that's what I do. If I let's just say this, if I was living in an age of like typewriters or like handwritten stuff, I would never be a writer. Let's just put it that way. I would not wouldn't make it.
All right, so we got about 10 more minutes, so let's do the others, so these other ideas. So we didn't finish this dude. Uh, was there an idea you guys wanted to see on him? Our handsome young escape artist here.
Who has a striking resemblance to somebody we know.
Completely by accident.
But yeah, by accident, for sure.
What do you think? What do you guys want me to do? Suggestions.
Maybe instead of a Taurus that's on his chest, maybe it's like around him. You know what I mean? So instead of like around him this way, it's maybe like circling his chest. You know what I mean?
Well, um,
It would be
Yes.
hard to get on and off.
Well, if you wanted to do something, you could maybe do something like. Remember, you have to think about that. It's like a hula hoop, right? Like
Yeah,
you have to
it's
think that
like a
this,
circle.
right?
Yeah.
So they don't bend. Tauruses don't
No,
bend.
no, no.
So
Yeah.
you have to. It would be really uncomfortable to wear it this way. You have to find ways that are. That's the one thing about it. It has to be practical and
Ooh,
comfortable.
a shoulder pad Taurus. Oh, I like what you're doing too, the like around the shoulders. I like that. A sash.
Shoulder pads, and then we've got a circlet around the forehead. A sash. You could totally do. Let's try all those different ones. We can do. If you did a sash one, which makes him look like he's the president of a Latin American country. We got this. You could do. You could have it like this. Um, you could have. We heard that the shoulder ones are kind of cool. You could build them into kind of like. Actually, what you could do is build some really cool epaulets on him. So if you wanted to,
Oh, I like that word.
epaulet.
Epaulet. Yeah, I like that.
I remember the day I finally figured out what those were called. I never knew what to
Mhm.
call them, and they come in all different styles. But if you wanted to put them that had the old Wolfgang uniform used to have epaulets, and so that's why you've got these. You could
You
have
guys
them in
aren't
here.
ready. You guys aren't ready for the new designs. You're
No,
not
you're not.
ready.
You could do that. You know,
I
you could
like that a
do.
lot.
You could also put. We heard like a on his forehead if you wanted to do that. Oops. Oh wait, hold on. I'm doing that wrong. And I got my art students watching me, and I'm not following the curve of the head. Stuff I'm like talking about all the time, and I'm like completely avoiding it.
You're going really
I'm
fast.
such a hypocrite. Such a phony. I'm such a phony.
No.
Okay, then we've got this. You could do that. What was another one I heard? Something about a. We did the sash. We did the one there. One that some that actually we can move on to this girl over here. If you wanted to take this girl and give her like a stack of them
Mhm. Mhm.
around her neck, which would be super
And
cool.
the Tauruses too are they're not just for karmistry. I know that sounds silly because obviously you have to have them to perform karmistry. They're also fashion, right? They're the style of Fortuna, they're the style of the country that your character is from. You know, that different styles can have different traditions and different meanings and come from different cultures and religions and ideologies and stuff. And so a lot of people wear fake Tauruses, to be fashionable, right? And so your character could have fake Tauruses, that is are made to have a cultural significance or something like that. And so that's something to keep in mind too when you're thinking about your character, is that a Taurus is more than just your ability to use karmistry. It's also where you're from, and who you are.
That's right. And a lot of people actually, some of these designs, because there's escape artists who are very famous, they make costume jewelry versions of that, right? So, like, let's say you're a very famous escape artist and you've got a very unique Taurus. Like, stores will sell those and people will wear them like fashion, like you would wear shoes, like sneakers and stuff. So, those are, those are things to consider. We've got our teacher bro over here. We could do.
Teacher bro. He's definitely a TA. Yeah.
He's a TA. Obviously we did earlier the Taurus in the glasses was something that we showed with Elio earlier.
Mhm.
You could have Tauruses in the glasses. You could have Taurus. We showed earlier simple, and sometimes the simple stuff is really elegant and cool. You could just have a necklace Taurus. Um,
Yeah, or like a badge or a pin on your collar, you
yeah,
know?
someone mentioned earlier the like the badge, and then it's built in here. You could also do a monocle. Let's say you just did a monocle. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
that's not going to be like typical wear, but you could totally do it. You could put a monocle with a Taurus in it. I think that would be super cool. I have a character who I'm working on who has a monocle Taurus like
Yeah.
that. Um, you could
A
do
watch?
a
Yeah.
watch. I have not heard anyone do a watch yet. So
Well, yeah, I think most people associate that with like Karma Tech, but it
yeah,
could be on a watch. Yes, it could be.
Carl was saying flight goggles.
Yep.
You could absolutely do flight goggles. So if we put on this, I don't see goggles on this guy for some reason. Hold on. He looks. I think I need to do it on this guy over here. Hold on.
He's too cool. He's too cool for
Yeah.
flight goggles.
So you could have.
And when you are making, maybe you're not making an escape artist, maybe you're making a special agent or something, you could think about tech and Taurus is kind of in the same way that you think about escape artists. Like they could be in goggles or a watch or your belt, and you can, or maybe they're in your firearm, right? And you want to show off the Taurus a little bit more to like show that you're really like a special agent. And clockbots too, we talk about clockbots often having internal Tauruses, but they can also have external ones. They can wear them just like escape artists do, as a nose ring or, on their rabbit ears or, protruding from their chest piece, whatever you want to do. As long as it fits the story. Think about it narratively. Why would you have the Taurus be on the outside rather than the inside, right? Why would you have flight goggles? As long as you make it make sense, you could do what you want with it. So that's something to keep in mind when you're thinking about other characters as well, not just escape artists.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Sorry, I got like focused. I forgot for a minute I was on a live, and I was like working like. I was on-
No, it's okay. I'm happy to.
so I hope you guys. So what do you think? I think this was fun. I hope this gave you some like.
This is cool.
I hope this gave you some ideas of what you can do. Literally, the sky's the limit, and I
Mm.
encourage you to come up with. And obviously, if your character is meant to be over the top, you could totally do something where it's like, okay, they have tons of Tauruses, but just know that culturally in that universe, having a ton of Tauruses would be like, I don't know, like
It'd be a target on your back, that's for sure.
it'd be a target on your back because obviously it's gold. People are going to want that. And they're going to, you could be robbed, but also it's just like not practical. It's just not
Yep.
practical. So thinking of cool ways to use Tauruses in moderation and really different applications of it. Our
Mhm.
backpack earlier heard was a great one. Uh, Actually, before we go, I'll tell you that the origin of the Taurus. Let me tell you the origin of my idea for a Taurus, where that came from. When I was first designing, coming up with Flux Destiny, um, uh, uh, I was looking at all these different ideas. I was like trying to come up with just different costume ideas and things. And when I was watching this documentary, and this stuff never happens to me. I'm always like, I love when you hear about people like, oh, I got this inspiration. I saw this here. Like it never comes that naturally to me. But I happened to be watching this documentary on like the History Channel or something. This is a long time ago. And there was it was a what do you call it? It was either a documentary on the History Channel or something, or like I don't know what, but it had to do with parachuters. And
Mhm.
parachuters, when they were putting on their harnesses for their parachutes, they would have this large ring in the center. It looks kind of like this. Actually, if you saw my really old Battlegate webcomic, you can see the original inspiration of that.
Mhm.
But if I were to put it here, it looks something like this. Oops. You had kind of one ring in the center, and then you had these like straps that went like this. Um, like this and formed like a cross like this. And that's where it came from. That's where the Torus idea came from, was seeing that a on a parachuter, and they had these like the ring that kind of holds all the straps together right here. And then
Mhm.
obviously I took that and made it much bigger for Hugo, who's the first one to have a Torus. But um, you know, it I just I sometimes forget that origin too. Sometimes I'm like, oh
I
right, I
love
forgot
that
about that.
origin.
So
That's
it's
one
a
of my
cool
favorite
story, right?
stories. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool little story. So, anyways, I just thought I'd, you know, share that, so you guys knew a little lore. See, showing up to the streams has its advantages to show up here.
It
Um,
always has. There's always an advantage.
there's always for that. So I hope you guys. Let me switch the view here so we can go back to you and me. Oh, here, wrong one. There we go. So I hope you guys had a good time with that. That was a lot of fun, being able to just like sit and, it would be fun just to do like breakout room. If you're in the Discord server, which by the way, if you're new and you're not, we have Flux Fantasy Fest happening all week. It's totally free to attend. It's our online mini TTRPG con. We have like events all day, today and tomorrow too.
Mhm.
There's a link in the description of this video that has how you can enter our server. It's usually our server's closed, but for festival week, it's open to people who come in. So this is your chance to get in. Otherwise, you have to go in through the Patreon when it's
Mhm.
closed. So jump in and you can come see the events. I was thinking this would be kind of a cool thing for people to do without me. Like they can go to the
Yeah.
breakout rooms. They can go to the hangout and like share different Taurus designs, right, and come up with crazy ideas that can be shared. Um,
Yeah, maybe I will, I still have this file. I will, make it a PNG and I'll post it in the Discord for you guys.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. And you can go in there and talk about it and share your designs. And there's a fandom hangout channel. It's a voice channel that you guys can go in there. Some of the lore leaders um, are in there too. You guys can play around and show ideas and share those off. So, um, and then so if you so we've got a whole bunch of other events today. If you check our socials, our next event is what is the one at lunch?
Yep, is in an hour.
Okay, so in an hour, there's a hangout in our server where you can hang out with other fans, and it's just kind of like just to hang out and talk. And then we've got some awesome other events at the end of the day, so you can check our socials for the schedule. I was gonna say, no, the server stays open. It's not shut down. It's normally only open to people who either buy a book or buy something from us, or they join our Patreon. But during
Mhm.
server week, it's open so that new
If
people can
you're
come in.
already in the Discord, you'll stay in the Discord.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if you come in during the festival week, you'll get to stay in. So it's kind of like a little perk. So you get to sneak in during that time, and hopefully you'll grab a core rulebook. That's what the link below. If you go to fluxfantasyrpg.com, you can go check out the core rulebook. There's also all these bundles where you can buy the core rulebook, and games that we've already created that you can buy and take with you. There's also play night. So there's only a few more seats left. So if you go to play.fluxfantasy.com, and Ella will put that in the chat, play.fluxfantasy.com are our official game nights where we play. You bring your OC, you use you sign up for a game and you join other players, and a GM like
Mhm.
Ella GMs some of these games. She's a really really fun GM too.
Aw.
I have played games with Ella and they were a lot of fun. So I really highly recommend you check. And all our others are fun too. Like the GMs there are certified fun. Like they don't become GMs unless they're certified fun. So you can take my word on it.
Yeah.
They're certified. They're certified fun GMs. So go check that out. So playfluxfantasy.com. Um, if you go to our link tree, and she'll put that. Oh, she already did. The link tree that's in there that has everything. So honestly, if you have that link, you see everything. The cool thing is that the very top of it is our character sheet, online character sheet. You can go online and play. You don't have to use it on paper. You can actually use this character sheet system that actually auto populates. So when you pick your characters and everything, it will automatically like update your stats and everything. So go check that out. And it's
Mhm.
free too. That's something free that you can use all the time. You can actually export and import and all sorts of stuff your characters. So anyway, well, awesome. Well, I hope you guys go check out check the link in the description to get in the server. Um, Go to the hangout that's happening in an hour. If you go now, you can go and introduce yourself. Listen, our server is such a really cool place. Everyone is so nice because we've worked very hard to create a place where people can just like, there's enough like horrible things happening in the world right now. Like this is a
Mhm.
place where you can go and just go have a good time, right? Like you
Yeah.
can go meet fellow people who like to like create characters and enjoy fictional universes and video games and anime and stuff like that. You're going to find a lot of like-minded people. And what's so funny is how many people just noticed something on my I saw on the camera there was like a cat hair or something on my shoulder. Um what what's really amazing is that our community, there have been people who've like who've become like lifelong friends. Some of them have like gotten married. There are people who've like met each other through
Mhm.
Flux Destiny, who've gotten married. There's people who've become like roommates. It's crazy. It's such a really great place to be. And you can go and lurk if you want to. You don't have to go participate. You can go in there and just listen and watch what's going on. There's awesome channels in there where you can go when you go in. I totally suggest you introduce yourself. You can share your socials and everything on there, and then there's all these other channels that you can share your own art with. Uh, anything. So it's just like a full destination. So now's the time to go do that. I think that's about it, Ella. For me, I need to get back to work for other things before the rest of the day. So
Yeah,
thank you
that's
guys so
it.
much. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you guys at the next event. Thanks for hanging out with us. Bye bye.
Bye.